Hello, everyone. So, if you haven't listened to part one of this episode, you need to go back and listen to part one. I really was diving deep into authority and integrity and what it takes to actually be a leader in whatever industry you're in, whether you are a dog washer, a eyebrow specialist, or and a designer or a coach. It doesn't matter. Everyone needs to listen to that episode if you're a businesswoman, because I'm seeing some consistent mistakes being made, and it is going to cost people their reputation and therefore their business. Now, today is part two. I didn't get into these things, but I want to get into them. So, today we are really talking about, to put it in a nutshell, it's like I was thinking about what are some of the things that I feel like got my business from making about $40,000 a year to, that was Aussie. So, like in US, that would be like $25,000 a year, maybe in US. From that to since 2020, I make seven figures, well into seven figures every single year. No question asked, no questions asked. And that's been since 2020. And so I was reflecting on like, what does it take besides the authority, which I spoke about? That is a really, really, really core component of it. Spoke about it in the previous episode. It might be last week or it could be the week before, because sometimes I don't put two business episodes back to back. So look out for that part one. We'll also link it below. The integrity, the authority, the leadership, the energy of all of that is honestly one of the most important components, but you can't do it and be a fake. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you can put a facade on of, I'm just going to pretend that I'm an authority and pretend that I'm this and that and the other, because it's not going to last very long. Because when you're actually shit at your job, people aren't going to be able to give you like the testimonials to be like, oh, she's actually good. And it's going to wear pretty thin because it's actually not true. So part of being able to sustain your business for a long period of time, which also then boosts the authority, because it's like, oh, this isn't something that she's just doing for fun on the side. This is a legit business. She's been running it successfully for 7 years. This is me. 7 years. That also builds the trust that then helps people to make that purchasing decision. But if you are more in the beginning stages of your business and you are not actually an embodiment of what it is that you teach, what it is that you help people with, etc. Like if they're going to get their eyebrows done and you have shit eyebrows, like you're not an embodiment. If you are a Pilates instructor and you actually don't have good core strength, for example, and when you're demonstrating to do, a tuck on the reformer, you can barely do it, like not really a good look, and people aren't going to feel like they can trust you. So this doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. Number one, being an embodiment of being at, when I'm saying an embodiment, I'm like, or in embodiment, it's you literally living out what it is that you're telling somebody else to do. Okay. So if you are telling somebody else, don't be a people pleaser, are you a people pleaser? Do you have boundaries? So you being an embodiment of your work, or in embodiment, however you want to say it, it adds this like element, it adds this energetic component that helps you to also build the know, like, and trust, because people can literally feel energy. They're not necessarily consciously aware of like, I can feel her energy and she is out of integrity, but it's there. It's subtly there. There can be hints where people are like, I'm not really sure about you, or whatever it is. But there can be hints that you don't want to be having. You want people to feel like they can know, like, and trust you. And in the beginning of your business, or if you're trying to like get to that place where your business becomes something easy, making money is easy, getting sales is easy, etc. Make sure that you don't just have pretty branding, because that doesn't do shit. I talk about that in the other episode as well. Make sure that you're actually in embodiment. Start with that. It's got to be real. If you're faking it, it's going to be short-lived. Like, you can't fake something forever. You can't, people are like, how have you been able to like run this business for so long, and like you barely have breaks, and like you never have social media or off time, and like, isn't it just exhausting? I'm like, why would it be exhausting to be myself? Seriously, why would it be exhausting to be you? It wouldn't be. I honestly don't find showing up on social media super exhausting. My new free business masterclass about breaking through your business ceilings is so fucking juicy. You guys want to make sure that you are able to join us and access it. I reckon it's probably going to end up being about an hour and a half long, because it is so good. My notes are so long. I had to refrain myself from just continuing on, because I was like, Monica, this cannot be 3 hours long. But between the vibey images that I'm giving you guys and the really tangible information, it's going to allow you to really take a look at your own business and where you are are potentially holding yourself back and where the gaps are in your business that you need to start working on so you can take things to the next level. So if you don't have your own business yet, but you want to have your own business, this masterclass is not for you because you won't get anything out of it. But if you do have a business already and you want to get your business to that next level, you want to expand things, you want to quantum leap things, whatever it is, make sure that you register. You can just do so via clicking the link in the description, and I will see you during the masterclass. Is it sometimes like, oh God, I got to make an Instagram post, or like, shit, I haven't done my Instagram post for next week. I need to get on that. Yeah, of course. But it's not exhausting because things become exhausting when they are out of alignment, when they are fake, when they are not authentic. So if I was trying to be someone that I'm not, I would get pretty exhausted because I would be constantly having to monitor my language. I'd be constantly having to monitor who I am, how I'm dressing. Like being fake is exhausting. That's why you can only be fake for so long at the beginning of a relationship. And then he sees the true side of you. And then either he's like, I like this side better, hopefully, or he's like, nope, not for me. Point is that we all know that, having that facade on, it wears thin after a while. And so if you actually want to build a sustainable business for yourself, you don't want to be wearing a facade for the first 2 years, build a business based off the facade. Ooh, that'd be so bad. Based off the facade. And then it's like, holy shit. Now you have to keep up that facade in order to keep the know, like, and trust going because people are trusting this fake version of you. Or you show the authentic version of yourself and now people are like, wait, what? The whole time she was fake. That can be really bad. It can go two ways. Some people will take that as like, hooray, yay, I'm so glad, like you've inspired me to be authentic. But my brain goes, so you've been fake that whole time? Like I see straight through the bullshit. Like I mean, I am pretty I'm pretty able to like feel somebody's energy and pick up on little things of whether they are an embodiment or not. And actually, I meant to say this in the previous episode too, but I wrote a really good blog post that I recommend you reading, whether you are looking to hire somebody, and it could be anybody, not just a coach, not just a healer or a therapist, or whether you are, a business person. There are a few things that I believe that you really need to be doing to show up in integrity and show up as an embodiment. And I've written out that list, and it was based off a situation that happened, oh God, I don't know, late last year or something. Essentially, I found this chick, or no, one of you actually found it. And I really appreciate when you guys send me accounts that are like copying my stuff or podcast episodes that are copying me, because I don't find these things myself. You guys actually the ones that bring them to my attention, and then our lawyers get involved. And I just really appreciate it because obviously I want to protect everything that I've built. And also it's like a copyright infringement. So this chick, she's had like kind of a big following, and she essentially had a program called Queen Alchemy. And the best bit of the whole situation was that she inquired about Queen Alchemy. So we have it all like, paper trails are important. She inquired about Queen Alchemy, and I think it was 2020 if I remember correctly, but it was like a while ago. So she literally knew that Queen Alchemy existed when she made Queen Alchemy, when she made her program, quote unquote, Queen Alchemy, which is not called that anymore. She's now actually like ripped off one of Alison Armstrong's program names, the Queen's Code. And I think hers is just called Queen's Code. And I'm like, as soon as Alison's team gets on that, surely they're going to be like, bitch, no. My point is that it was a hilarious situation because she was trying to claim like whatever she was trying to claim, and the paper trail was great. And our lawyers obviously just like, no. But when I was looking into her account, there was so many telltale signs that she was actually not in embodiment with what she was helping people with. So what she was helping people with was finding healthy love. That was her thing. And helping women to like find, like be in a relationship of their dreams and whatever. And I'm like, I fully support that mission. That's amazing. But you need to be in embodiment when you're doing it. And there are a few things, that I wrote out this list, and she inspired me because of her like lack of embodiment to be like, okay, I can very clearly see some things that I'd be looking out for if I was potentially going to hire her, because obviously she is a complete fraud. She also proved that, if you didn't, I think it's in the blog post too, but she also further proved this to me, which is why I then kind of like went into this, like, let me write about what's actually required. Because when my fiance emailed her to like with all the proof of like, you need to remove the name, blah, 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 I actually posted it on my stories. And I think the screenshots are actually on the blog post too. She basically was like super emasculating to him. And like, he wasn't emasculated by it, but she was very, very just horrible. Like, honestly, what she said was really horrible through the email, and very, very reactive. She sent like 3 emails in a row, and then she did the same thing to our lawyers. And I was like, it was very interesting to me. And it actually upset me because she's got people paying her, and she has people that have put their trust in her. But I'm seeing the true colors. And the true colors is, you know, you are not a dysregulated 23-year-old helping women, which is kind of like, okay, you're 23, right? You are a 40-year-old woman that doesn't know how to send a professional email response, is so dysregulated, because I can tell because you sent me like 5 responses in a row, and you've like just fully like essentially yelled at us through, or yelled at my fiance and been really horrible through email. You also promote this message of not emasculating men and loving men and healing your relationship with men, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, you've literally like demonized him as a man. And then you've also copied somebody else's program that you literally inquired about. And so it wasn't like I was trying to take this chick down. Like, I haven't posted her name anywhere because like I'm not that kind of person. And this actually gets kind of brought to me a lot in different ways, where people are emailing us and sharing they've spent XYZ money on programs and nothing has worked before, or like it wasn't what they expected it to be, and it was actually really bad. And I'm like, okay, what are people not looking out for that could have avoided them getting in the energy, getting in the program, getting in the space with a person that wasn't fully in embodiment? And so I'm not going to read them on here. I've listed out all of those things and given full explanation. And of course, I've added context because nuances exist on that blog post. I would recommend you reading, because if you are wanting to get your business to be, multi 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever it is, or just not even necessarily that you're looking to get to a number, but you want to get to a place where you can just have sales come in easily without you having to like try and push so hard. Part of that is the energy. It's part strategy, but it's also part energy. And that energy is your embodiment. And the strategy is kind of like what's in the blog post, to be honest. That kind of is coupled, this little bit of strategy with your energy, then creates, okay, she's an authority figure. Okay, I can trust her. A lot of people miss the little steps that help their audience to actually trust them to then be able to buy, because your audience has to move through the know, like, and trust kind of process. And if they don't like and then trust you, they're not actually then going to buy from you. So a super important thing. Okay, so let's kind of get into, that was a bit of a blab, but important one. Let's get into some of the things that I've reflected on that I feel like really has helped me to separate myself from just the redundant, everyone's the same copycat kind of situation in the coaching industry. And even though you might be listening and you're not a coach, there is a lot that you can take from this that I would recommend anyway. When I'm helping people with their businesses, I honestly don't only help coaches. Yes, I would say that probably like 50% of my business clients are coaches, but women that go through the Feminine CEO are also artists. They're different entrepreneurs. They are real estate agents. They are, starting new businesses along the side of their business they've already started. They are jewelry designers. They are architects. They have their own different like PR agencies. They're marketing, what do they call marketing? Like, they have a marketing agency. I can't think of the word, whatever. So many different sorts of businesses. And actually, on this note, let me say this because I don't want to forget this. So the other day I did an Instagram story on this, and it was inspired after a one-on-one call in the Feminine CEO. And I want to put this in this episode as well. And maybe we'll put it on my Instagram too, so it has a bit of a place there, because I got a lot of responses after this. And honestly, some of you from the Feminine CEO emailed and you were like, wait, can you provide me with some ideas? What you said, I didn't even like consider as an option for me. So there's this whole thing right now of like, scale your business, scale your business, scale your business. And a lot of people think the answer to scaling their business is courses. But courses aren't the only way to scale your business. And what you have to be careful of is, will the course dilute my business that I've already started? Will the course dilute, my messaging and my ideal audience, especially if you, for example, are running, let's say, a marketing agency and you are working with really high-end brands. And this is actually kind of the example. This is the example really that I was working with a client in the Feminine CEO. So she works with very, very high-end brands. And she was wanting to quote unquote scale her business and basically get some more of her life back. And essentially in our one-on-one session, I gave her everything that will get her business to the next level and allow her to have more of her time back, but make, either more money or the same amount of money, but have more of her time back. And her main thing was like, I just want more of my time back. Because right now, for her, it really feels like she's trading time for money. And obviously, maybe not obviously, but part of the reason why a lot of us end up running our own business is we want more freedom. We don't want to trade time for money. We want to be able to take a Wednesday afternoon off and not have to ask anybody about it. But what we don't realize is that a lot of us actually end up setting our businesses up in a way that doesn't align with our dream life. I did an episode on this. We'll link that below. So her thing was like, and she wrote this in her form, and I already had written out a bunch of ideas before we even got on the call with her when I was prepping it. But she wrote out in her form, like, I am thinking that I should do a course on like blah, 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 but I just wanted to know your thoughts on it and if you had any ideas. And she's already got an established business. And so essentially what I came in with was all the things that she could be doing to clean up her current established business, buy her so much time back. And we also made a plan, which she loved. Check in with me if you know who you are. If you're listening to this, she also made a plan of how to literally upgrade the current value that she was giving her clients. So what we ended up doing was buying her more time. Like, she got more of her time back. And in all of the little things that we were shifting, what she was able to realize is like, this is actually going to be a better experience for my clients because they also are spending less time. Like, there is less redundancy. And so, I wanted to share this with you because, another one of you in the Feminine CEO then emailed, and you sell beautiful artwork, and you were like, I saw that nugget, and like, can you provide me with some ideas? Because I've also thought I have to do a course in order to make some passive revenue. And I'm like, all right, this is getting ridiculous. Not in like, I'm not annoyed or anything like that. I'm like, you guys know I get annoyed, or not annoyed, I get like riled up when I'm realizing how much we are comparing ourselves to other people's businesses. You do not need to have a bajillion courses or even a course to make more money or to make passive revenue or to not have so much of like the trading time for money. There are so many other things that you could do, because what you have to make sure of, and maybe the answer is you can make a course, but here's the thing. A lot of people will try and like add these extra things to their business to make passive revenue, but it dilutes their business and it's a turnoff for their actual ideal client. So if you're running a marketing agency or a PR agency or that kind of thing, and your ideal clients is like more in that luxury market and they want a very luxurious experience, but now all of a sudden you're also allocating your time to like things that are just not in alignment with what your business is meant to be. Now those potential clients that want to pay for like a luxury service are like, I'm confused. Like, is she luxury? Is she not luxury? Like, does she know what she's doing? And like, there's too many things going on. And that can then dilute the messaging and frankly turn off your ideal your ideal client. So in this marketing situation, it was like, she's working with big designer brands, and not even just big designer brands, but also smaller brands that are luxury designer, whatever. And so if she's now running a course on like how to improve your marketing for like the average business owner, it's not that she can't run it, but what I was able to help her to understand is that that wasn't actually what she wanted. It wasn't actually in alignment for her. And for some of you, it could be. So you have to like check in with that. But I really was able to check in with her, and that actually wasn't what she wanted. It's just that she kind of thought that was the only option. But in doing that, that could have actually caused more problems than it solved. So we were able to come up with another plan that does allow her to make more money and not have to put in so much time. So more of that kind of like passive revenue, if you will. And it's not that she's never showing up for her clients, because she's like me. She's like, I love working for them. I love showing up. Like, I love my job. We were able to just clean some things up and also improve things that then obviously changes the way that things are being run. So I wanted to leave you guys with that as well. Just to please know that as you're growing your business, you don't need, and please don't just look at what somebody else is doing and be like, oh, because they have a membership, I need to do a membership. The amount of times people have said to me, shouldn't you do a membership, Monica? Like, you've had your business for 7 years, like you have so many programs. I'm like, well, at least right now I'm like, I am not doing a membership. Like, No, that is not in alignment with me. That is just not what I want. There are so many reasons why I do not want to do a membership, and I probably won't ever do a membership. And I'm not going to go into them. But the bottom line is that if you want to grow your business to the next level, things have to be authentic, because without that authenticity, you can't get behind what you're offering. You're not excited about it. People feel that. People want to feel like you are so lit up by what you do. You are so excited by what it is that you are selling them, and you are so behind it. So if you're trying to get behind something that you're like, about, no wonder the fucking launch flops, because you aren't actually fully yes to it. So on this note of being authentic, I do all of my copywriting myself. I know some people don't believe that. Not don't believe that. People always assume that I outsource my copywriting because people tell me it's very good. And I'm like, thank you very much. It is all written by me in my office, in bed, on the couch, or in my garden. So as time went on in my business, I continued to upgrade my copywriting. I am always getting my team to check website pages, see if things are getting a little bit redundant, like in terms of copywriting. And I'm always adding things. I'm not using, an email from 5 years ago and just putting it out again. I'm not using the same sales page lingo that I like on, the Queen Alchemy page or the Feminine CEO page is not the same page that it was 5 years ago. There are components of it that are the same, but I'm always upgrading it, always, always, always upgrading it. And most importantly, I don't follow like a strict outline or template. Like for example, with sales pages, I never got like some, here's exactly how you should do your sales page, and then like did that the same. And I don't actually teach you that either in the Feminine CEO. I really encourage you to make it your own. Especially in the age of AI, people need to feel you. And I truly believe that people can feel the program. They can feel the energy of it. They can feel my devotion to it when they're reading these different pages. And that's my intention. I want them to actually be able to feel it. It's not like I'm just hitting an agenda, because I find when I read those sales pages where it's like, okay, you're clearly writing a sales page, it doesn't connect to me as well. It doesn't draw me in. I don't feel as like yummy around the thing. And I often just like then scroll and like don't even read it. But I try and write my website pages in a way that means you actually read it, where you're getting some nuggets out of you. If you actually read the Queen Alchemy or the Feminine CEO or like the MMM2, whatever sales pages, you can literally learn stuff from the sales page. I want to write it in a way where you want to read it. And more importantly, I want to write it in a way that just feels right for me. And, it's written in a way where I'm not like being rigid with my creativity and doing XYZ to sell ABC. It's like, no, I'm doing it this way because this feels good for me. And what feels good for me is then I'm going to be able to get behind, and I'm going to be able to do a better job at selling. So it's really, really important that you don't sound like every other person in your industry. I think that goes without saying. You do not want to sound, I don't want to sound like every other coach. In fact, I make it my fucking mission to literally be different from them and different from other people, because I have always kind of been that person where I don't fit into the status quo, but I also just like, I'm really not a cliquey person. Like, people have like their cliques, and like, sometimes, in different industries, it's like everyone's friends with like the other lawyers, and it's just like these bubbles. And I don't know, something can come like, there's something about it sometimes for me where it comes across like very exclusive. And I'm in the industry of helping people. The last thing that I ever want is for someone to feel like I'm exclusive, or someone to feel like I am above them, or someone to feel like, you know, she's better than me. I don't want people to feel like that. And I know sometimes it can just happen because you guys like fangirl, and I'm like, why are we fangirling here? Like, look, my ego loves it, of course, right? Very humbled by it. But I'm also like, I am so like, it's still to this day, I'm like, why? Like, this is weird. Why do you want a photo with me? Like when we're at my immersion and stuff, and whatever, or when some of you like book calls and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm actually getting on a call with you. I'm like, why? Like, literally, like, I'm confused by it. I'm like, why? And I think it's really because we get stuck on, oh, she has this many followers. Oh, like you see me through pictures all the time. And so you assume that I don't know, you put me on a little bit of a pedestal sometimes. And I'm not saying like you're doing anything wrong. Like that's very natural. If I saw like fucking Reese Witherspoon in the street, I'd also be like, oh my God, I see her as above me. And that's just human nature, because we are like, how do I say this word? Hierarchical. we very much think in hierarchies. I'm going to say it that way. I'm like, I don't even know I've ever said it. Hierarchy. I feel like I'm speaking a different language. Anyway, we're going to leave that one there. We do think we are animals at the end of the day. So there is that primitive part of our brain that's like, that person's below me, that person's above me. I'm sitting here in terms of the hierarchy. So I'm not saying that you're wrong for like thinking like that, but I just always want to make people feel like I am not exclusive. I want people to feel like we welcome people with open arms, and that it's not like all my friends are coaches and we're all like blah, blah, blah together. I've told you guys this before. I have one friend that's a coach, one. And she's one of my best friends. She's one of my maids of honor. We met back when I was living in Sydney, one. And we are actually quite different anyway. And there's no competition. Like, our businesses are so different. We are so, so, so different. But all my other friends are like completely different jobs, like so random, so different, so much variety. And I love that because I think it keeps me very grounded in the humanness of the world and the normal human experience. Whereas sometimes when you're in like bubbles, it actually doesn't necessarily serve you if you're helping people, because it's like you don't actually know what that person is going through because you're so kind of like hidden away, and you're so protected, if not even protected, but you're just in this bubble, right? Where you aren't kind of like exposed to like what's actually going on for a lot of people. Anyway, I'm not saying every coach is like this by any means, but what I'm also saying is that you want to make sure that you're standing out from the crowd. You actually want to do the opposite. I do not try to fit in. Literally, do not try to fit in. If you want to stand out, if you want to have a successful business where people remember you, you need to be worth remembering. And so if you are just fitting in with everybody else, no one's going to remember you. Maybe no one will hate you, but no one's going to remember you. It's better to have haters, because then people are remembering you. Even when people hate you, they've remembered you. You are now significant in their mind because they fucking hate you. And I can't tell you, I said this before, so many clients have gone through a phase of listening to my podcast, like when they first found me and they're like, no, fuck this bitch, don't like what she's saying. And then they end up hiring me. So just because someone hates you doesn't mean that you're a nobody. And it's also okay to be a nobody in somebody else's mind. If you're constantly trying to please everybody else on the internet, you are boring. You are vanilla in a bad way, because vanilla can also be good. Like, love a good vanilla bean, really do. But I made like vanilla, we can demonize vanilla, but like sometimes quote unquote vanilla sex is the most nourishing sex. So I'm saying vanilla in a bad way. You are boring. You are unimportant. You are not worth remembering. And I know that can be really, really harsh to hear, but I'm saying this because it's really hard these days sometimes showing up online because of all the hate that you can get. I had a reel go viral. Yes, recently. That's the right way of saying it. And sometimes I hate it when reels go viral because I can get like such awful messages, and it's just people like not reading. And I'm really good at adding context to like captions, but once a reel goes viral, people aren't reading a fucking caption. I had one recently where I need to do an episode on this one because it just like pissed people off, but I don't really think it was you guys. I think it was everybody, like weird people. And the reel basically said why you don't want to be in a relationship with a man or why you want to be in a relationship with a man that tells you no. And it was essentially around how boundaries create safety and it creates trust and respect in the relationship. And you don't want a man that's going to be people pleasing you, because then you'll end up not being able to trust his word. And that's going to cause you to then be in this constant stress response, because if you're not able to trust his word, you're going to be wondering all the time whether he's being real or whether he's being fake, and whether he's actually angry at you or whether he's okay with you, and like all that kind of stuff. And I even said, like, this obviously is not the case for abusive relationships. People didn't read it. That's fine, whatever. But the comments can get really mean. And so I don't take it personally, but sometimes it still stings. Like, sometimes when people send really awful things, it does still sting, especially when people say stupid shit about my fiance. Like, I get like protective mama bear in a way. And I'm like, I want to kill this person. Anyway, my point is that I understand that it can be hard in being seen online these days, but if you are constantly trying to avoid haters, you are also going to avoid lovers. You are going to avoid people that love you to death and that are obsessed with your content. So I actually sometimes purposely make content that I know will piss people off, because it allows people to get more drawn into me and be like, wow, I really like her. And then the people that aren't a good fit, they like unfollow, they remove themselves, and I'm like, amazing. It's like a nice little cleanup. Like, we're filtering people out. So if you want to be remembered, you have to be okay with being hated. I know that sounds so random, but you have to be okay with being hated, because when you're okay with being hated, one, you stop spending so much energy trying to avoid being hated. And then you also just accept it. You're like, I don't don't change the way that I feel about myself because somebody else doesn't like me. I don't change the way I feel about myself or what I put out because someone doesn't agree with me. Someone can say, you are so wrong, Monica. I don't agree with anything you say. You are the dumbest blonde bitch in the world. And I'll be like, cool. All right. I'm still going to say what I'm going to say. And I truly mean that. And I truly feel that. Like, people, like friends and whatever, have seen it where we're at dinners and people are like, I completely disagree with you. And I'm like, that's okay. Like, you don't have to agree with me. And people are like, how are you so just like, you don't want to fight back? And I'm like, no, I don't need to fight somebody if they don't want to agree with me. And they don't need to agree with me. They can still respect me for it. I know some people don't, and that's their own problem, to lose respect for another adult that you don't like agree with. And that's a big issue in today's society. And that's also a problem with the cancel culture is that people, like especially adults, it's like really concerning. So many people these days don't understand that you can disagree with somebody, but also still respect them. People lose respect and lose friendships over a difference of a fucking opinion. And I'm like, this is an issue. Like, we are all adults here. Someone else can not agree with you and you can still be friends with them. Anyway, to some people, apparently you can't be. Bizarre. But this is actually causing a problem. There's actually a lot of research around like 70 something percent of people. I wrote about it in my books. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but 70 something percent of people don't feel safe to speak their truth in their relationships because they're worried that it's going to end the relationship. And I'm like, that is fucked up. Like, that is fucked up. And then obviously to take that to the online world, and it's a whole other extreme. But the more that you as a business owner can just realize that, like, it's almost like taking the charge out of being hated. Like, it's just part of it. If you want to stand out and be seen, it makes it a little bit easier to stand out and be seen as well. Okay. Quickly interrupting the episode, ladies and gentlemen, if any gentlemen are listening, to let you guys know that the Feminine CEO, the bonus material that we have right now on offer, is going to be closing very soon. It closes on August 29th, and it is not something that you want to be missing. If you haven't kind of been clued in, the Feminine CEO program is going to be changing again. It changed maybe 2.5 years ago. It's changing again, the formatting, and the one-on-one will no longer be included in the regular price. So right now, when you join, not only are you getting this incredible bonus material that you do not want to miss out on, especially if your focus right now is creating more time for yourself, having more systems, having more masculine structure so that you can actually support your feminine in business. You want the bonus material, trust me. And then you also do not want to miss out on the live module that I have for you guys coming live from Lake Como on September 3rd, 2024. And this module is literally every single thing that I have done, that my team has done in business and also personally as well, for the last about 2 years to prepare my business for this 6-week, like kind of like almost like sabbatical that I'm taking off for my wedding and honeymoon. And also, more importantly, for all the preparation work that we have been doing to prepare me for being able to feel so confident in stepping into motherhood and not feeling like I'm going to be drowning trying to juggle these two like very full-time, emotionally all-encompassing things. So whether you are already a mom, whether you want to be a mom, whether you just want to have more time for yourself, there is so much in this module that you can be using and utilizing right now in your business. So you do not need to want to be stepping into motherhood to get shitloads out of this new module. It is for anybody that just wants to be able to feel like they could read a book at 2 p.m. in the afternoon if they wanted to. And on that note, you need to find your own voice, right? You want to sound like you want to feel like you. People want to feel you, like I was saying before. And so you need to learn to write in a way that really allows you to share your gifts in a way that people can relate to and feel the energy of. So if you haven't figured out your way of getting into a writing flow, I would recommend doing that, because I honestly highly recommend you doing all your copywriting, especially if you want business to be easy, because business becomes easy when you're just your authentic self. Business becomes hard when there's like other people trying to mimic you and you have to kind of like fit this certain facade or like fit into the certain brand style someone's made for you. I talked about this more in the last the part 1 of this episode as well. So being your authentic self, that's what makes business easy in a nutshell. Part of being your authentic self is that you need to obviously learn how to write and how to write well. Now, I am not inherently a writer. Like, I wrote my whole book and it has to be fully edited because they're like, the book is amazing, but you are not a writer, Monica. And I'm like, I completely accept that. I'm not a writer. And honestly, when I was handing in my book, I made that very clear of like, I need you guys to understand, like, I'm not offended by anything. I want this book to be the absolute best it can be. And I am not a writer. Like, I do enjoy writing, but I really own the fact that I'm not one of those people that just has like the most beautiful way of putting words together. I find for me that my brain works so fast that I like almost can't articulate myself as well as I want to articulate myself. And so that's something that I'm working on all the time, especially the more that I, am doing interviews and events and whatnot, is the ability to sometimes articulate something that is hard to articulate, especially because I'm not trying to give like, I don't like giving fluffy answers. I don't like giving generic answers. I'm always trying to like give the most tangible answer. And that can come with like me tripping over my words sometimes. It can come with me just getting a little bit like flushed. It can come with me being like, oh my God, I can't get these fucking words out. How am I trying to say it? And honestly, it's because I care. Like, this is kind of weird, but this is what it is. It's because I care so much about giving a very real, tangible, actionable answer for you that I almost second guess what I'm saying, or I overthink what I'm saying because I'm trying to make it good, because I care so much about what I'm saying. I'm like really trying to articulate it well, because I know that sometimes you'll say something to someone and you're like, do you get it? And they're like, yeah. And they actually don't get it. And I'm aware that I could say something to someone, especially in like an in-person setting where there's like time limits on things and other people are waiting for their question to be answered. And someone's like, yep, I get it. But they actually don't. And I like genuinely, I'm like, no, do you fully understand? So I think over the years, it's almost like I overthink how well I have to articulate something out of a need to, not even a need, it's not a need, it's out of a want. I want to give you the best answer. So anyway, I'm working on articulating myself in a more succinct way, but I find it hard because I am little Miss Chatterbox. Anyway, so if you're not a writer, you don't have to be like the world's best writer, but I write every sales page myself and then my team edits it, because then as they're editing it, they might be like, this really doesn't make sense, Monica. And I'm like, okay, this is good to know, because like it made sense to me, but it's not clear to them. I'm going to change it. So having somebody else that doesn't understand what you do read it, that's the best way to do it. So I used to get my mom to read my sales pages. I used to get my fiance to read my sales pages, like when he was my boyfriend. And I would get friends to read sales pages that weren't in this area, because if they couldn't understand what I was saying, then my audience wasn't going to be able to understand what I was saying. So you don't need to necessarily have an assistant, but you need to get creative with having other people to kind of check your work, if you will, so that you can make sure that you're articulating yourself in a way that your audience understands. Because sometimes what can happen is that we overcomplicate things, and we use too much jargon. And it's like, whoa, remember, your audience is way behind you. Your audience doesn't know what, like pregnenolone is. If you're a nutritionist or something, or you're like a naturopath, they don't know what pregnenolone is. Don't throw in the word like it's reducing your pregnenolone. Like that just goes over their head. Now they're lost and you've lost them. Instead, you want to actually be making a more tangible statement where they're like, oh yeah, I see that. I actually see that in my current life. Okay, so you need to find your own voice and you need to practice writing so that you obviously get better, because I've done now this writing for 7 years. So as time goes on, it gets better and better. And I have had people say like, wow, I've seen you grow over 5 years, and the way that you talk has gotten so much more succinct. The way that you write has gotten so much better. And it's a really nice compliment, because I'm like, I would fucking hope that things have gotten better the more that I've done it and the more that I've practiced. Okay. The next one, which is a little bit more of a strategy that I've also started doing. Well, we started doing this a while ago, but I would recommend doing this to get your business to the next level. And this is one of those things of like how I got my business to say 40K Aussie a year, which is like 25-ish US, to then well over 7 figures consistently since 2020, is you need to be analyzing your data to see what is actually working. And then as you're analyzing your data and see what's working and obviously see what's not working as well, then you can put more effort into what is working and obviously stop putting effort or do some A/B testing on what is not working. Just remember, ladies, that the masculine side of business helps your feminine, because otherwise you're exhausting, you're exhausting your feminine nervous system and your feminine creativity, because there's no real plan. You're just kind of like shooting for the stars. You're just trying different things. There's no real execution plan. And as a result, there's no direction, there's no discernment about what you're creating. And so you're putting all of these, I see this a lot. People are putting all these resources into different things and they don't even know whether it's working or not. So they're pouring out all of their creative energy. They're trying all these different things. They're splitting their energy up into a million different things, and they don't even know whether it's working. And it's really exhausting your feminine. When you know something is working, because of the data, it almost helps you to then keep pumping out stuff for that because you literally know you're going to get the reward. So your feminine creativity is like, let's go, let's go. I've got more, I've got more. Versus when you're kind of just like waddling around in the dark, you can start to lose your creativity because you're like, is it working? You don't really know. And then you lose that kind of momentum and motivation and security. And you guys know that that security, that masculine structure, that actually brings relaxation to the feminine nervous system. When we are in a relaxed state, we can then be more creative. So your masculine structure in your business helps with bringing more ease into your business. And it also helps with bringing more creativity because you're more in that relaxed receptivity state because you know it actually is working. All right. So the next thing is learning how to market. You need to learn how to market your business, your products, your services, like whatever it is that you're doing, whether you have a brick and mortar, whether it's an online, it doesn't matter. And you want to learn to market in a way that ensures that you are getting growth if you want growth, or, so you want to make sure that you're basically achieving your goal year after year. So for a lot of us, the goal year after year is like growth, 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 growth. For some people though, it's actually just consistency. Amazing. I've had that goal before where my goal was I actually just want to be consistent with last year. I just want to match last year. If I get the same as last year, it's going to be amazing. And that goal I set for myself when we moved to Atlanta. So there was so much going on. It was year 2022. I'd met my fiance, we got engaged. I moved to Atlanta. I left New York. There was so much happening that year. And my goal was actually, I just want to have the same as last year. That's all I want. And I actually got more than last year, like we grew. But my point is that it kind of took some of the pressure off. So you don't have to want to have growth every year. You're not a less successful or a less ambitious woman for knowing when actually you just want to stay the same because you want to focus your priorities on something else, because we can't always be splitting our energy. We can't always be growing in every single area of our life at the same time and at the same rate. There's always kind of like a little bit of give and take. And it doesn't mean that we are like sacrificing our business and our business is going down the drain to raise a family. We want to keep our business the same, and you still could actually end up growing your business. But it's about sometimes just taking the pressure and the expectation off means that we can grow even, when we weren't intending it for the year, but we then just still feel like, okay, I have achieved what it is that I wanted. And I've kept my business consistent. And that should be everybody's baseline goal anyway, is to keep your business consistent. If your business is consistently making, my dad always tells me this. He'll like ask about my business, like, how's it going? How much did you grow this year? What did you make? Blah, blah, blah. And we have these kinds of conversations and every year, obviously, when I'm growing, he's like, Monica, I'm just blown away because even if you just stayed consistent to last year, that's a win. Consistency is a win. It is always a win. And he really taught me that because he's a really good like businessman. He really taught me that of if your business is making the same as it was last year, you are achieving, and you honestly can see it as growth because there's so many other things going on in the world that can really intensely fluctuate your business. And with my kind of business, he's had to kind of wrap his head around it a little bit. I've talked about that before. And so sometimes he can think like, has your business suffered because of, the interest rates or the this or that? And I'm like, no. And he's just like, wow. And that consistency piece really needs to be your baseline. So you want to make sure that you're actually knowing how to market. People don't know how to market. They're kind of just like throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping that it sticks. So it's about knowing not just how to like market in general, but how to market to your ideal audience. Do you know what your audience likes? Do you know what they respond to? Do you know what they get like sucked into? Do you know how they prefer consuming information? Okay. So making sure that you actually know about your audience and what they like and what they don't like. And that's part of looking at your content, looking at the data. That is actually fucking sexy sometimes to look at the data. And I love it now because I appreciate and I can feel, oh shit, sorry. It's actually sexy looking at the data because I can now appreciate and feel how my nervous system like relaxes, my feminine relaxes. She gets like excited. She gets like sexy turned on kind of vibes when we're on a meeting talking about data because I'm like, yes, okay. Oh my God, this is so good. Let's do more of this. Let's do this. Like I always get super excited, even just seeing when you guys sign up to my email list, you can select what topics you want to hear about. And that is market research. I'm like, wow, all these people want to hear about this. And I get so excited about it. So it also helps keep that creative energy going because again, it's like you're getting something in return. You know that your hard work is going to pay off because you know what your audience actually wants, rather than just going around blind, hoping that it sticks, and then feeling exhausted when quote unquote nothing is working. Something is working. You just don't know what that thing is because you haven't actually looked at what it is that you're doing. A lot of the times people don't want to reflect and analyze their work because they're so worried about seeing the failures. But what you need to understand is that I think it's a win when we see failures. My team's always surprised about this, but like in the past when like a launch hasn't done that well or something hasn't done that well and I've tried something new, my team can try and be like saying really positive, like, it's okay, Monica. I'm like, I'm not fucking phased. Like, I literally, I'm like, this is great. I'm glad didn't do well. Like, not glad, but I'm like, this is great. This didn't do as well as what we wanted because I'm now knowing that my audience doesn't want this for whatever reason. It could be, for example, like as an example, when I did my 1-day LA event, I was like fascinated by the fact that so many of you actually preferred the 3-day. And the thing is, I prefer the 3-day because it takes the same amount of effort to prepare a 3-day event than a 1-day event. I'd rather do a 3-day event. But I wasn't sure. So I wanted to test out a 1-day event when I wasn't like, dealing with a young child. I wanted to test out a few things last year when I still kind of had just like that flexibility of where my life was at. So that I had more of kind of finite, like yes or no's, black and white, for when we step into the next season of life, when the book comes out and whatever. And so things are just more like, we know this is going to work. We know this is going to succeed. And that was a really great example because it actually allowed me to know, wow, I've taught you guys so well that you know that you are going to get more out of a 3-day event than a 1-day event. So a lot of you were just like, I'm just going to wait and come to the immersion and come to the 3-day event. The LA event was actually still fucking amazing and you guys absolutely loved it. But my point is that trying things and failing at them is actually a win because now you've learned more. So it allows you to direct things even better, which is a good thing because it feels better putting all this effort into something that you know is going to work than putting putting effort into something where you're like, it doesn't really work that well. That feels so much harder. Okay, leaving that one there. And then on that note, the last thing I'll say with marketing is, and this is kind of, I guess, in many different areas, but are you having fun? Are you having fun with your marketing? Are you having fun in your business? Do you actually want people to buy your services? Or are you burnt out and are you exhausted? And so you're no longer actually wanting people to work for you. It's like, okay, yeah, I want to make money, but like, don't hire me. Don't hire me. Like I'm so fucking tired, right? And you might not consciously be aware of this, but unconsciously, you could literally be rejecting people because you are tired and exhausted, because you're not excited about what it is that you're doing, because you're not excited about the way that your business is even operating. It might not even be your business. It actually could just be behind the scenes things that need to be cleaned up so that you actually feel more excited about things. It could be that you just need to hire somebody and that could make you feel more excited about things and more supported. On that note, are you excited about what you're selling? Or are you no longer excited about what you're selling? And again, it doesn't mean that you have to throw that thing in the bin. Do you have to just rejig it a little bit so that you can get excited about what it is that you're selling? There are so many ways to make things more fun in your business, especially if you have the joy of being an online business. You have the joy of creating content. Like, there's so many different ways that you can get creative in the marketing that you need to like play into. You need to get creative and realize what would actually be fun for you. Because I understand that things can feel a little bit redundant after doing the same thing year after year, doing the same program year after year, doing the same launch year after year. And so it's really essential that you're doing other things and you're doing things in a way that keeps you motivated and excited. I've done Queen Alchemy for the round that we're in right now, and this episode comes out. This is my 19th round of this group program. It used to be called something else in the beginning, and then I started Queen Alchemy. This is the 14th round of Queen Alchemy itself, like as it's been named Queen Alchemy, but it's the 19th round of like this group program, if you will. And I'm not sick of it because I have changed it, adapted it, upgraded it in different ways. I've even just changed it in a way where like you guys wouldn't know that it's changed, like what you're doing as a client in Queen Alchemy, but I've changed the way that I'm doing the marketing or the operations or the behind the scenes or the way that I'm delegating things in my team. And so it's constantly kept me excited for Queen Alchemy, for running the actual program as well as launching the actual program. And I'm like proud of that because this program's been running since the beginning of 2019. So for most people, they'd be like, done with this program. I want to create a new one. But I have just changed what needed to be changed and I've kept things fun for myself. So the fun piece, I'm going to finish with this. The fun piece with marketing is really important because people can then feel your joy and your energy and your excitement about what it is that you're selling. And that is immediately going to draw them in more. Because if people don't feel like you're excited about what it is that you're selling, do you think they're going to then come buy it? Do you think they're going to be magnetized towards it? No. Part of what you want to use with like being in your feminine and business, quote unquote, is you want to use your radiance and your magnetism and your creative energy. And so much of that can be fostered and utilized in the marketing of things. So the way that you market, the way that you show up, the way that you create content, like the graphics, the creatives, the aesthetics, all of those things, you can really be putting your feminine energy in there to then draw your ideal clients in. So don't lose the creativity piece of your business. I will have marketing help, I'm sure, down the line where I have somebody else that's kind of like helping with some of these things. And I've tried it before where I've contracted in somebody else to help me with marketing, and I don't have it right now. Like I didn't end up actually loving it, if that makes like I'm not gonna go into the details, but it wasn't like a bad thing by any means. It wasn't like a blow up my face and oh my God, we fired the team and it was horrible. No, we actually use them sometimes still when I need a little bit of support, but it just was like, okay, no, I actually need to hire probably a full-time marketing person down the track where they are helping with a lot of the execution and they're helping with the creative ideas, but I still have that like autonomy over it. I would never lose the autonomy over my marketing ever, 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 never have, never will, because I am like the brand. I am the marketing. People need to feel my energy. It needs to feel exciting and authentic to me. So if I gave that decision making over to somebody else, like things would not succeed. Let's just leave it at that. Things would absolutely not succeed because if someone was telling me, you need to do this, but I didn't want to, do you think the energy is going to be potent and magnetic in that? No. People would be able to feel something is off, and that could then deter them from actually doing the work with me. All right, guys, this was an amazing episode as well. So juicy. I love when just like I get on my fucking things. I was actually going to record different episodes today. And then I was like, nope, this is what we're talking about. And we did it. We did it. All right. I will see you guys in the next one. Do not forget that you can join my business masterclass. It's completely free. It's called Breaking Your Business Ceilings. The outline for the masterclass is on the website page. If you click the link below, you'll be able to register for that. And then the Feminine CEO is currently open right now. And we have a few things that are going to be finishing up kind of this launch, if you will. I know it's open all the time, but you want to make sure that you are joining by the end of the month in order to get these special inclusions, which are all written about on the website page. Okay, I will see you guys in the next episode.